time for Measure Twice.
Welcome to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. Dean was in last week. That was a lot of fun. We learned a lot about floors. That seems
I was floored.
seems a little on the nose, doesn't it? That's a fun show.
Love Dino.
Yeah. Good guy. Met a guy named Kevin from Leatherman Supply.
Oh, Kevin
this
Park.
week. Yeah.
Another fantastic
Another good guy. But Gigantor.
Yes, he's huge.
He's a big dude. He was in a 10-foot tent, and
he's filling it up.
yeah, he had no problem. I wouldn't be able to high five him. I'd be able to like mid five him.
Yeah.
There'd be no
He hit his knee.
yeah, knee five. But good people, our sponsors. So thank you very much for sponsoring us. This week I wanted to dive into some of the basics, because I think we have been pretty technical for the past few months. Very,
Getting in the weeds.
yeah, we want to
Digging in.
yeah, we shake things up and go back to the basics. And I pulled up two articles, and it's just, I want to kind of walk people through the fundamentals of a remodel, from like design to build, just the fundamentals. We could get in the weeds all day with, specific, archways or, however, but like, just if you were to lay out, just like, okay, you're planning on remodeling, here's how it's probably going to go. Right. Joel, I wanted to start with you, because sometimes people just immediately go to a remodeler. Like they're like, I want to remodel, or I want to put on this addition. Hello, can you come out and, look at my place? Right? How often do you get that? Can you come out and look at my place? I want to do this thing.
Quite a bit.
I mean, that's like most of the time.
That's pretty basic.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you start.
That is,
Right, yeah.
that is where you start.
The starting point.
And then Chris, you get kind of the same thing. That's where I think there's a little bit of a disconnect with the public of like, what, do I start with the remodeler or do I start with the designer? But you start both, but thousands of projects start both places.
Yeah, I was going to say, excuse me, it happens either way. Sometimes, they'll might reach out to the contractor. The contractor says, oh, you'll need a designer.
Yeah.
So that was where I was going. It's like, yes. At what point do you look at a project? Like, it's not like you walk out. I know you don't walk in and be like, nope, you need a designer, and then you leave. You don't do that. But you're probably walking around and seeing certain things that are like, yeah, you probably need design help on this thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would say most of the time that is a need.
Yeah, I don't want to like say that a designer isn't good for every project. That's not what I'm saying. Like every project probably could use a designer, but there are some that it's like you're not getting this done without a designer.
Correct.
You
Yeah.
know, like this.
Yeah,
is,
because I mean, we don't have the capacity to walk you through all of. I mean, I feel like maybe we had talked about this not too long ago, but like one of the things that like Chris does is like helps not just with like selections, but like how is furniture going to fit into this area so that it all works together. So this has to be designed. This space has to be laid out in a manner to be the most useful. And we can do some of that, but we just don't like. That's not really in our wheelhouse.
That's not what you do. That's not what you do.
right. You're bogging down the wrong crew.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that gets us to a point where it's like,
I can't walk with you through Lee Supply for the 55 selections.
Well, and it's also not the contractor's job to help them pick out paint colors and do all the interior finishes.
That to be my job because that's not our
It bogs you down.
expertise. Yeah.
It also bogs you down.
Yeah.
And you're right. We did talk about that, but we had to start there to move forward.
Yeah.
So once you've decided that, okay, now you've got the designer involved and now you've got the remodeler involved, I wanted to talk through like basically the basic things of that. And I have an article from House, which was a pretty good, I like House. And they just make a few points. And they mention you should, if you're the homeowner, this is from the homeowner perspective here, right? Their first suggestion is become a writer, a list writer. And I thought that was a good point. Lists. Just, you need a bunch of lists, not one long list, but lists in categories. And I thought that was a good point. And they're saying things like, make a list of like key things that you're your outcomes. Like what are you trying to get? Right. So that was cool. Like have your destination is basically that way of saying that. But you can't list everything out start to finish because the project doesn't generally run that way because things change or happen or, but
that's really not for the homeowner.
Right. They're saying a homeowner should have lists, categorized lists. I'll give you an example here.
I know. I understand what they're saying, but they have a mental list.
Well, they're saying, but in here they address that. They're
out.
saying like the mental list can betray you sometimes because your mind changes and you don't realize that it changed, and a lot of times you start to influence the project, and you had never talked to your designer or your contractor about it.
So they're saying that the homeowner should have a list prepared, a written list,
right? And then as they think of things, should write on that list to discuss with their designer. Because what happens is, and I think I've seen this, where people, didn't we talk about that?
Some creep. I mean, you get like not like a.
Oh, I thought you were like, some creep's doing that to Chris over there.
No, like you get like project creep where it starts becoming. You kind of lose, or I don't know how to say it. Sometimes naturally it's going to grow because I now that we're here, I see that I want this too.
Right.
But sometimes it kind of, from what you originally were after, it starts shifting a little bit without realizing. If you don't have this like destination in your list,
we should put a pin in that because it's actually different, but it's later in the article.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about when you visit a homeowner visits somebody else's house, and the homeowner that is in the middle of a project, but they're visiting a finished house, and they have a conversation with the person in that house, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's something I should do in my project," and it creeps into their mind, but they never communicate it to the designer, but it feels like they did because they had a conversation with someone about it, and all these things are going on around you. It's easy to forget that we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah.
And it starts to influence the project. And that's what those lists protect you from. Is like you become Dick Tracy. For the old people, that was a detective who wrote on a pad and paper. For the young people, I mean. But like you should have just a little list of like your thoughts because it can happen. And I'm sure that's happened. It's definitely happened on the Graber side, but I don't know if that's ever happened to you where it's like, didn't we talk about that? It's like, no, we never talked about that. It can happen.
It can happen. I can see that can happen.
So I thought that was an interesting point. Not to belabor the list part, but it's the first article I've seen where they say, hey, look, if you have a project near the homeowner, write some of your stuff down.
It's a good idea because it is especially like, I mean, for everybody, it can be difficult to remember what you have talked about. And so if you're not physically writing it down, you can think you've talked to somebody about it.
And you think you're going to remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and really you don't. You know, it's hard to keep up. How many moving parts are in a project?
Hundreds.
Maybe more than hundreds.
Yep.
You know, it's not, nobody can keep that together. And there's software that does it, but nothing beats that pad and paper. Nothing yet has beaten the pad and paper, even for millennials. You know, like something about writing
just
it down.
Physically write it down. It connects in your brain better.
Yeah, it's wild. And I thought that was an interesting point. And then, honestly, we're going to move into different topics in here, but like the next 4 topics are just essentially glorified lists because of what the list does for you. It keeps you focused. It categorizes things and stuff like that. But that was the moral of that story. But when we come back, let's move into when the project is going, what are some things, fundamentals that you're going to see in your project when we come back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Customer Modeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential. You're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC, and we're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors and Hoosier Hardwood Floors. Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You could visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about the fundamentals of design and remodel. Like when you have a project, what are some things that are kind of fundamental? And we went over keeping a list straight, have your own list. But there's a lot of aspects to it. And if I were to ask you guys, what are the big blocks of a remodel from design to build? What are the big pieces in it? For example, would it be making decisions, layout, architect? What are the big pieces? You have planning. I'll get you started. Planning is the first part. We talk about that all the time. What's the next spot?
Well, planning's pretty broad.
Well, I'm talking broad, just the big blocks.
Yeah.
Then we can narrow it down from there. But
Well, you go from planning to actual, the work.
Well, but isn't there something between planning and doing it? You have to acquire the stuff, right?
Not everything at once.
That's true.
You acquire stuff. I mean, I guess it depends on the size of the project, but
if you're a homeowner right now, that seems oversimplified. You know what I mean? Okay, we planned it. Now we're going to go do it. What are the parts?
Well, if you're working with a contractor and a designer, that's how it should work for you as a homeowner.
What, you're always making decisions in there.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Never. What decisions?
You're a professional decision getter.
Yes.
I'm serious. I'm not even being sarcastic.
Yeah, I know.
What percentage of your job is getting decisions, you think?
Every aspect.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Really?
Yeah. You have to make a decision before you can move on.
Okay, you're right. So,
I mean, being indecisive bogs down the project.
Yeah.
So this is
It
where
puts it at a hold.
Right. Well, this is where I was kind of chuckling while we were off air, but I didn't want to bring it up yet. This is typical House, and I love the magazine. Don't get me wrong, but this is typical. Plan everything ahead. Finalize your design before starting any work. Okay, I get that. Right? Before starting work rather than trying to do it as you go along. The process will be much more enjoyable without constant deadlines presenting themselves if you haven't planned.
That's true.
True.
Yep.
But is it even possible to plan everything ahead?
No. Things change.
Well, you can make. I mean, I'm famous for saying you make a plan to change a plan.
Right.
So it's okay to make. I mean, if you really feel compelled to plan you have to have a pretty solid plan for where you're getting to. But there's going to be, even if you have a good plan, you need to give yourself an opening to be able to make some changes as it goes. Because you might, once you have your space and start seeing it, then selections, just because you've made that, are they saying you make all your selections too?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, okay. So, for example, if you're doing a kitchen remodel, excuse me, before you start the construction phase, you have your cabinet design, you have your finishes selected, countertops. Maybe you have your hardware selected, maybe you don't. But those things have to be in play before you even begin to. You can't even order cabinets until all those things are decided. So you're not knocking down walls or removing cabinetry until everything is selected.
Right.
So, but that part is fundamental and that part is solidified before anything moves forward.
So fundamentally, if we're talking about the fundamentals, that you can plan all that ahead of
Yeah, that has to be planned before. You're not going to tear out your kitchen
right
without having a plan in place and cabinets ordered.
Right, and you have decisions made at that point.
Correct. So that, I think, is what they're referring to. But that doesn't mean, I need to have my wall color figured out right away. Well, okay, this part of it's done. Now we can kind of just decide what we're going to do with the walls or a kitchen backsplash or things of that nature. Because those things all come later.
And it might make sense to make those decisions later because the stuff's there.
Correct. Right. And
window treatment, stools.
Yeah, and maybe you will. But like for example, the finishing touches may not be 100% in place, but the fundamentals are there.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the things that I think that the article is doing is treating remodeling like a new build, where there's some things in remodeling that are different than new build, because in new build, you do what you want. There's no environmental. Basically, there's I get it. If you're building on the side of a mountain, you have different environmental things, but a remodel,
because you already have an existing structure, you're saying?
Yeah, there are some things that you might have to compromise, even if you have unlimited money.
There might be some limitations.
Yes.
That you run into.
Right. That are behind the wall or
Right. That make it, you not saying you can't do it, but it makes it more difficult or costly to do.
It might not make sense to do things if move an entire.
And we run into that all the time, and then we have to basically say, we can do it, but it's going to be this, and then ultimately it's their choice to move forward, or it's not really where I want to put the money.
Right. So that's the only thing I was really balking at. It's like, well, you can't make everything in a remodel because there's surprises built in.
But in a build, you won't make everything either because you don't need to.
Well,
you have you have a lot of the basics figured out, like.
Right, but there are things that happen as it goes along that you.
Right.
But typically, like for example, we run into those situations with, we can't move that wall because of the ductwork. That is usually caught before the design phase. I mean, you're not going to lay out a plan without having that information in place first, because otherwise you're going back and redoing everything.
Right.
Right.
So some of those things are caught before we even begin a design phase, the design phase.
Which makes sense, right? You should plan everything you can possibly plan.
Right.
Yeah. But there
are variables.
I guess what I would say to a homeowner is like, well, just don't get comfortable, because there's some flexibility that you're going to need.
Expect flexibility.
Yeah. I think that's what I would like to have seen in the article is like, you're going to try to plan everything out, but be flexible, because you don't want to be disappointed because you have to change something, because that's a tough emotion to overcome.
Yeah.
If going in like, hey, look, I'm probably going to have to be flexible with some things. But I think that's where you guys do a good job probably with your clients, that you're saying, hey, we're going to do this thing now. You got to be flexible because there could be variables. But we have a contingency plan, and then that's the next thing. It's like, have contingency. Build some contingency in, if you can, into it. that kind of lightens the, well, we picked everything. If you get a real engineering type person, they're like, why wouldn't it work? We picked everything. We thought of every detail. Well, nature's good at that. There's a great picture.
Yeah.
But then I think, and we can probably go into the next segment and talk about this, but I like this little part of the article is like, never assume that everybody's going to see what you see as a homeowner.
Yeah.
Never assume that. And I think that goes both ways, right? Like, you have to give each other leeway that it might take some splaining, to get your point across. And they say, like, never assume someone else will work how you want them to work unless you explicitly state it and include tiny details if you can. Does that make sense to you, Chris? Like, do you like when a customer has the tiny details, does that help your process?
Depends.
Why? What do you mean?
Well, if the tiny details don't actually work.
Tiny details don't actually work, or they're unrealistic, and you try to talk them out of it, or that doesn't fit the design.
Right.
Then
it can bog you down.
It can bog you down.
Right. That's wild because you would think that the more tiny details you have, the smoother it's going to be.
No, it can be irritating.
It can be OCD kind of thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. And I've read that in my research that sometimes as a homeowner, you might not be OCD in anything in your life, but suddenly this project, because they're expensive and time consuming.
And they're personal.
And they're very personal. This OCD little animal comes out.
Yep, it's very personal.
It can stop a project. It can slow it down so much. Mm-hmm. When we come back, put a pin in that. We'll dive more into it when we come back. This is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors and Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling. I wanted to try the velvety tones.
Yeah.
You're listening to the show that helps you envision your home's potential. And you're listening on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply. Everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors. And Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. We're talking about the fundamentals of a remodel, from design to your build. Like, what's the homeowner? What should you be doing and keeping and seeing and things like that? And we talked about, obviously, planning is the big part and the construction part's the big part. But like, we were talking about decision making and being detailed, but Chris, not so detailed that it affects the project.
Right.
And what do you mean by that? Because
OCD, over micromanaging the project.
Right.
Well, that's what I think of when they say be detail oriented. Sometimes they try to micromanage. Yeah,
moderation is the key to happiness, right? Even there, because why? If there has to be trust.
There has to be trust, and this, I don't know how to say this.
I mean, some of the detail, and that's what I was kind of getting at, is like some of those details, you address them when you get there. Like, how far do you offset your tile on your backsplash?
See,
that doesn't have to be decided immediately.
Right. But at the same time, the point of details, somebody has to be in charge, in control of the project, and that's typically the designer or the contractor. So when the client tries to take control of the project, it muddies it, and it goes south quickly.
Right. Now, when you say like somebody has to take control of the project, that's why you're being paid.
Right. We're supposed to be the ones managing it, but if you take that away from us, then the project typically falls apart.
Right. And that
happens when they start with too many fine-tuned details.
And when you say fine tune details, give us an example, because you off air you had a really good example. It's like you have a discussion. It was like something along the lines of like you have a discussion, you come to a decision, you walk away to go implement, and then
They change the decision.
right.
Or, I was looking at the tile guys, and they're putting it a quarter of an inch off to the one side. And you're like, excuse me? Yeah, I don't think they're doing it right. So you have to run over
And make sure.
and make sure and know
I mean,
this
it can get so extreme that people want, like, I don't like that tile there.
yeah.
I want it somewhere else. You have to just, there are some things that you just have to trust the process, because individual, like a tile floor, for example, it's not necessarily made for each tile to be, it's not a puzzle.
Right.
Once it's all together, when
Right.
it's finished, it looks great.
But those things do happen,
Yeah.
and more frequently than you might realize. And then a lot of times we just have to, you're only looking at one element of the overall project. You have to wait for it all to come together. And I understand it's difficult when it's your house and you see one element go in and you're not 100% sure you like what you selected or what was selected. And you got to go back and say, just let the process happen. This
Yeah.
is just one element, and it's new. Live with it for a couple days, and then usually they calm down. But
Right.
that's part of the process.
It's part of the recipe. It's like
Yeah.
if you were to eat a teaspoon of granulated garlic, it would be terrible.
Yes,
But you throw it into mama's sauce.
and it's good.
Yeah. It's like
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's there. I would have loved to have seen a part of this article say one of the fundamentals is letting it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are certain parts that you have to let happen.
Yep.
And then look at them.
Yep.
Instead of looking at
Each individual aspect as it's going in.
yeah, because it will look messed up.
Yeah.
Like it's. If what an analogy would be if you were watching a master painter paint, but you're in the first 25 minutes of the person painting, it's not going to look good.
No.
It doesn't look like it. But when it gets put together,
Yeah.
it looks a little different. That would have been an interesting piece in this article from house.com to say, okay, there's a part where you got to let the horse run,
Yep.
let it go in. I think that YouTube is to blame some of this, where it's like, well, I watched a guy on YouTube put tile down, and it was,
Now this happens before YouTube was even in existence.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yep. This has been going on since time. Because
right,
people have been remodeling.
right, because it's personal.
It's personal, exactly, and they're spending a lot of money, and then they're thinking, they get scared and unsure, and they just need reassurance through the process.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how much you have in the bank or your lot in life. It's still personal, and it's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's your personal space,
Yeah,
and you want it to reflect what you have in your mind.
right. Do you feel like the exterior or the interior has more of passion in it, or is it just a dead heat equal parts? Do people get more incensed when they walk in and they're like, this isn't right, or is it the outside of the house when they're
It all depends on the person. Really.
Yeah.
That's all.
Outside's important, definitely, but mainly it's the inside because you're living on the inside.
right? Right. So inside a little bit more personal.
A little bit more personal. You want the outside to be cohesive and thought out too, but it's more of the interior.
Right. Then you're in a remodel. Well, you probably see this all the time. I mean, all the time, Joel. It can look a mess for a long time.
Oh yeah, people oftentimes wonder what's happening.
Yeah, because you go in, it's like, this looks exactly the same as last week. Like to them,
Yeah.
because at what point in a project does it look like stuff's getting done? Because there's probably like his pivot point, like somewhere
Yeah,
where it's
there's
like,
typically when drywall starts going up, that's when it starts actually taking shape.
Right.
Getting close in, you start seeing something. However, that can still take a fair amount of time too. And so,
Yeah, I think when you can, not that you guys use a broom every day to clean up when you're done, but sometimes I don't care what kind of broom you got, it's still going to look like stuff's just laying around. Because
you try to keep things organized and in a place so it's not just all over the place, looking like people don't know what they're doing.
Right.
They're dropping tools and running to the next spot.
Right.
You don't want that.
Right. But then there's that, when it starts to get closed up, that's a good point. When it starts to get closed up, it starts to look like, oh, okay, and this is happening. And then probably another, if you're talking about a kitchen or a bathroom, when a vanity or a cabinet gets put in, that's probably,
or your flooring or your tile, or there's these benchmarks that you hit that it's like, oh, this is starting to really come together.
But I would think that that's kind of a different pivot point, because I think where that is a sigh of relief for the construction side, because now it's the homeowner sees the thing getting put together. But I think that opens up for the designer side now, because now the cabinet's in. Now we're starting with colors going to happen.
Yep, now they're getting excited because they're starting to see things come together.
Right.
And then it can't move fast enough.
Right. Then a different bloom happens. That's exactly where I was going.
And then it gets the, oh, gosh, I love the cabinets. But are you sure the countertop we selected is still going to work?
And the degree in psychology that you must come with, this degree in design must start to kick in there.
Or my favorite is when they ask me and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not sure why Chris picked that.
Or I'm seeing this come together now, and I'm wondering if the backsplash we selected will still work. And then you're like, well, we have time because, they can't put the countertops in if it's solid surface until they template. So we do have some flexibility to reselect and sometimes it does work out better that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, they rethink their selection. We pick out something that we like actually better. So as things come together, that's why we call it a process.
So another fundamental piece is that pivot point where things start to come together. So we had the plan, we had the construction starts, we had the let it run fundamental, and now we have it's starting to get put together portion of it where you learn what those details, what they meant.
Right, because it's part of the process. I mean, we have a lot more technology now than we did in the past to help customers visualize their space.
Well, let's talk about that when we come back. We're right up against it, but we'll put a pin in that technology to visualize it. Don't let them forget. When we come back, this is Measure Twice. Welcome back to Measure Twice. I'm Rob Perugini, along with Joel Graber from Graber Custom Remodeling and Chris Kramer from C. Kramer Interiors. This is the show that helps you envision your home's potential, and you're listening to us on Michiana's News Talk 95.3 MNC. We're brought to you in part by Leatherman Supply, everything windows, doors, cabinets, and countertops, with the showroom now open in Granger next to C. Kramer Interiors, and Hoosier Hardwood Floors, Michiana's trusted and valued experts on hardwood floors. You can visit them at HoosierHardwoodFloors.com. And when we last left you, we were talking about the coming together phase, and Chris was talking about how the technology allows customers, or your customers or homeowners, to start to visualize a lot sooner than they had in the past. And and we can pick it up right from there, Chris.
Excuse me. With we use Chief Architects, so we can do a 3-dimensional drawing of the space, so they can get a walkthrough of how the cabinetry and how everything is going to look. AI is fantastic because now I can take, customers ask all the time, well, what does this look like if I put this fabric on the sofa? Can you show me that? Well, in the past we can't.
So
now I can.
Does AI get you pretty close to a picture?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's it's fantastic. I mean, I worked with a client, like, for example, picking out wallpaper. What's it going to look like in my room? I can now put that on AI and show them a picture of what the room will look like with the wallpaper on.
And it's not a rendering; it looks like a picture.
It looks like a photograph.
And every one of them has like Chris in a leopard print Speedo.
Yeah, yeah, you betcha.
Laid out.
And this is what I would look like sitting on your kitchen counter in a Speedo. And this is what I would look like sitting in lotus position in your living room in a Speedo.
Yeah, great. Nobody wants a picture of that. So, but it helps people to make a decision on, oh, that's what it's going to look like.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I wanted to make the point, it looks like a photo.
Yes, it's not a rendering.
It's not a cartoon. Look,
because you put the actual pieces. You go to take the wallpaper and you take a snapshot of it and put it in AI, and it will it's exact. Now the scale may not be 100% right because it can't quite get that yet, but it gives them enough information visually that they can make a decision. I just had a client the other day that we were talking about doing a tile on an accent wall, the vanity wall in a small powder room. So we put it in AI. And then she goes, but I really like this wallpaper. So then we took the tile out, put the whole room in wallpaper, and changed the vanity color.
You could see
boom. And put the light fixture she selected, the mirror she selected, all of that went into AI, generated this photo of her space, and that made her decision.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
I think the ability to place somebody in the room before.
I mean, that's huge.
Well, and even I can take, okay, I like this sofa and I like this fabric, but I like to see what it looks like. I can now take that photo of the fabric and the sofa, and AI can put it on the frame for us.
Is that in
seconds.
Chief Architect, or is that?
Nope, that's AI. That's just AI.
Straight AI.
So now they can say, oh, yeah, okay, I like that. Let's go ahead. So these tools are most people can't visualize what their space is going to look like, but this takes that
Chief Architect is more like it's not photorealistic.
Correct.
It gives you a good understanding of how your space is going to be laid out.
Correct.
It gives you a good idea of what things will look like in that space, but then to get photorealistic, then you're applying some AI.
Yeah, and then even how's that light fixture going to look against my wallpaper, so I can just in a matter of minutes pull this all together.
Right. So you could show somebody what quarter sun would look like.
Yeah.
Because in for cabinets, I think people tend to say, I don't want wood colored cabinets because they don't always understand. Like they think it looks like what their parents had in the 70s,
Yeah.
And when you could actually see it in a picture, this is what it looks like. This is why that's different.
Right.
And this is how it will look in your room.
Right.
See,
crazy.
See, this is what AI generated.
It looks just like a picture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So do you find in the picture that Chris held up, it was looked like a powder room vanity?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as a powder room, you're facing the mirror. It was like if you were 4 paces back from the vanity looking at it. Now it added lighting accents.
We put that lighting in.
But did you see I'm looking at on either side, the brightness of the light? Did AI add that?
No, it took it from the photograph that I put into AI.
So it just basically, you took a picture.
It does. AI will enhance.
That's what I was getting at. There's some things that you need to probably pay attention to that AI will sneak in there.
And AI is not perfect. It is. I mean, it's only as good as what the information you're giving it. But even then, it still has limitations on what it shows and how you can explain a curved vanity. And I'd asked to do that for another client, and I got this really weird shape.
I just ran with it.
It's like, how do I explain that that's the wrong curve?
Right.
Yeah, you have the prompt, and if you're working in AI, really you become a prompt expert. How do I prompt the AI to give me back what it is that I'm looking for?
It's just, it's such a useful. It's such an a useful and a kind of an important tool now.
But at what phase is AI working? Is it through the whole process, or do you find like you're in the front of
Not
the
through
process?
the whole process. No, see, this is another one I did because we were trying to figure out if that light fixture was going to work against the wallpaper.
And so this is literally a mirror with a light fixture.
That's their mirror that they have. That's the wallpaper we selected, and then that's the light fixture that they were wanting to change to.
And it's really not it's not a design, like the AI is not just relegated to builders and designers. Like you can go and do it on your own. You go home right now, take a picture of your bathroom and start messing with it with AI, and it'll give you ideas.
It'll give you ideas. It'll even tell you what paint colors you should use against certain things. It makes recommendations.
Right.
I still trust the eye over AI anytime.
Well, that was my net. That's a great segue. We're right on there. It's like you're just to recap in the fundamentals. The AI portion probably use a lot in the beginning. You could probably use it all the way through, but really beginning and through your decision making. But it's not a super awesome consultant yet.
Correct.
Like
Trust your professionals.
it's still AI is still reading the internet, and we know the insanity that is on the internet. So you can't trust it like a close friend.
It's a tool,
Right.
and it gives you some ideas, but it's not 100% perfect.
Right. It's going to, and like you said, it'll sneak some enhancements in there that
Aren't right.
like it.
It puts in windows where there's no window. I mean, so you got to remove the window, and it's like so.
Right. Use AI, but pay attention to it.
Yeah. Don't take it as 100%.
Right. And for like the remodeling and contractor side, it can be pretty valuable when a customer is having trouble identifying what you're building.
Yeah.
Because it's not there. And then suddenly it's there, especially like an addition and stuff like that.
Right.
How's this going to look on the outside of my house?
But that's why AI is fantastic. You take a picture of the house, and you can say, "I'm thinking about this paint color," and you can put that in, and it'll boom.
Right.
Oh, that's darker than I don't think I like that. But so
Right.
Oh man, it's awesome.
Right. And if
awesome.
as long as you know to probably ignore the suggestions.
Oh, I don't look at their suggestions. I guess it's because I know what I'm looking for.
Absolutely. But why I keep saying that is because a homeowner or a customer has to look at these suggestions because we don't have a degree in design and we don't do it every day. So it's tempting to just follow those those suggestions.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't even read them. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want.
Yeah, and we're out of time. So thanks for listening. This has been Measure Twice.
Podcasts by Federated Media.